So it's a beautiful morning here in Warsaw and I'm up super early. It's actually 7:30 in the morning, which is usually when I wake up. Why am I in such soft focus? I look like a 1950s movie star. Goodness. Anyway, so why am I up at this time? Because I'm on a trip. I'm on a business trip to Wroclaw. And I thought I'd take you all with me, because why not? I actually used to live in Wroclaw, and this is the first time I'm going to be back since 2011, 2012. So I'm really excited to see how it looks. And hopefully by the time I get there, I won't be looking so weird. So what am I doing? Why am I going to Wrocław? Well, as I say, I have a work trip. I've got a few bits and pieces to do with my organization, observe some teachers, that sort of thing. And my line manager specifically told me to relax and enjoy the trip. So I'm going to look for opportunities to do that where I can. I have to say, I'm actually really excited about the journey itself. I do enjoy long journeys. It's about 4 hours, 20 minutes by train. And I'm looking forward to just sitting on the train, relaxing, looking out the window, watching the world go by, maybe listening to an audiobook. I've been listening to Hyperion by Dan Simmons. I really love that book, by the way. And we'll see, I might do a bit of work. I have my work laptop here. There's some things that I should do, but I was specifically told to enjoy the trip. So I guess we'll see if I actually do something and check it out. Palace of Culture what a perfect morning this is. It's a bit chilly, but it's so sunny. It's lovely. So I endured the 4 hours and a half train ride, give or take, and now I'm back in Wrocław, and I have to say, first impressions, it's a lovely day. Look at the weather, it's amazing. And hopefully I'll be throwing in some images, some videos, some b-roll of Wrocław throughout this episode. But it's interesting being back because I'm in this kind of weird space where on the one hand it feels really familiar because I lived here for years. In fact, the first school that I worked in Wrocław is just over there, and it's a shame I'm not going to have time to pop in and say hello because I've literally got to run to my hotel, drop my stuff, and then I've got to go and find myself a coffee because I am gasping for a good coffee right now. And there's a couple of things, and then I've got to get to work. But yeah, it's really kind of, it's familiar, and yet at the same time it feels so different as well. And I guess maybe that's appropriate, because maybe I am also somewhat familiar but also incredibly different last time compared from the last time I came here. And yeah, it's nice to be back. I guess the weather helps. It's nice and warm. Wrocław is famously one of the warmest places in Poland. I mean, we're talking a matter of a couple of degrees here or there, but you know, it's not exactly tropical or anything like that. But it's just nice. It's nice to be back. It's nice to be on a trip. And I mean, look at this, look at the view, look at this place. It's a really nice city. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of this trip pans out. Got my coffee. It's actually really nice. I'm quite surprised. I think it's oat milk they've used in this as well, rather than regular milk. And I quite like that every now and again. It's a different type of flavour. What's interesting about being back here, and I've literally been back for like 10 minutes. So maybe I'm thinking a bit too much into it, but I guess that's who I am. I'm kind of reminded of the last time I went back to the UK and how upsetting that was almost, because I'd been out for I'd been transitioning for maybe 6 months when I went back to London. And while in my day-to-day life I was starting to present more and more femininely, when I went back to London I was playing it safe, let's say. So I found that quite frustrating, and it felt like I'd gone backwards quite considerably. And here I'm me. I checked into the hotel as Abby. I'm walking around in this beautiful dress. You can't see it but Carolina picked it out for me, and I feel so it just reminds me of how far I've come. It's really nice. It's such a nice feeling. And yeah, it's like I'm in these spaces. I've not seen these spaces for so many years, but I'm so much more now. That makes me feel so happy. So, first day, well, this is the morning of the second day of me in Wroclaw, and today is the day when I'm heading home already. So a flying visit, really brief, I guess. I'm gonna do my face and then I'm gonna head out. It's, about 7:45? My train's at about 10:20. So I wanna have a nice, relaxed, gentle stroll through the center of town to get to the train station. If I'm rushing, it'll take about half an hour. So I'm figuring give myself about an hour to get to the train station. We'll see. So how's the trip been? Actually, it's been quite interesting. I've really enjoyed being here, being back, even though I've only seen the city for about 10 minutes in total as I've been running from one place to the other. It's been a lot of fun being back here. I really love business trips. And it kind of gets me reflecting, because the last business trip that I went on was to Madrid, which is one of my all-time favorite cities. And I think Carolina joined me on that trip as well towards the end of it. So we ended up spending a few extra days there, and it's really nice. I love Madrid. I could quite happily live there for a little bit. If I ever get the chance, I'd be delighted. Wrocław, of course, I used to live here, so it's not quite the same sort of vibe, but oh goodness. I hate it when that happens. But I could certainly come back. I actually met some friends yesterday, and we hung out for a couple of hours, and it was the first time we'd actually met in person. I'd been chatting with one of these girls on Reddit. There's some construction going on across the way, so I can't tell if the knocking is the construction or the person coming to clean the flat. It's a bit early to clean the flat, I think, but who knows. Anyway, it was really nice meeting these friends. They were super nice, super welcoming. We had pizza and hung out, chatted about nonsense for a couple of hours, and it's just nice to do something like that. As for the work component of my job, it was fine. Could I have done this remotely? I don't know. I mean, there's something to be said about being in one place and doing what you need to do there and then. But yeah, I'll see how I feel when I'm out and about in a bit, but I certainly enjoy travel. I certainly enjoy being in places. And so it's nice to just have a couple of days outside of my normal day-to-day world and just seeing what's out there, you know? And as I was saying yesterday, I certainly do feel a bit of, I guess, progress, you know, being in a place like this. I went down to breakfast like this. This is my outfit for today. It's the classic skirt top combo that's become something of a staple in my outfit. And it's just nice to just have the confidence of just going out and about as myself without having too many problems. I feel actually, I was kind of assessing my face situation as well recently. And I think the most recent laser round has been quite effective. I've got very little hair on my upper lip these days, which is amazing. I'm so happy with that. Anyway, so I have another 4-hour train ride ahead of me, which I'm not exactly eagerly anticipating. Yesterday it got quite tiring. I have a bit of work that I need to do on the train, so maybe that'll occupy me a little bit more. I was being somewhat, I guess you could say, lazy yesterday. Oh, I forgot to apply my what is this? Concealer. Well, concealer can go over foundation, I guess. I think what's interesting is I don't necessarily need that much today, I don't think. For those of you who are interested in my makeup journey, I have pivoted to a couple of new products. People in the comments section, obviously I'm not using sponges and I'm using a brush to apply a lot of my makeup. What do you suggest? Because obviously I'm really new at this, but I find fingers seem to do the job quite nicely, and brush for my foundation application, that seems to do the job all right. Okay, that's not so bad. So yeah, anyway, so I've pivoted to using this NARS light reflecting foundation. This is really good. I've been using, I think if you've been part of my makeup conversation before, I'd been using geez, what was it called? Something else. I need to remind myself what I used. I was using it for ages, and I found that was fine in the winter. It was quite heavy, it was quite powdery, and so I wanted something a bit lighter in the spring and the summer, something that didn't quite sit so obviously on my skin, something that would give me a little bit of a more natural kind of look. And I think this does the job. It's really good. I'm really enjoying it so far. I've been using it for about just under a month, I think, but this has been a really good purchase. And I've also switched to this Tarte Double Duty Beauty. It's a concealer, and this is also really good. So I had been using NARS concealers before, and that was fine, but I wanted to just try something a little bit newer, something a bit different, because I felt that the NARS was using it up really quickly, and I was wondering if maybe there's something out there on the market that could give me a slightly better coverage. And yeah, I'm quite satisfied with this combination so far. It's looking okay, because I found that the Tear, that's the name, the Tear foundation would often just leave me looking a little bit sort of unnatural and a little bit, you know, it would, because I actually came back from Morocco with a tan on my face, and I wanted to have the option of not hiding that with the foundation that I wear, because obviously summer is coming, I'll probably get a little bit more tan, so I want to be able to, you know, show that I'm not completely pale. I don't sit in the office all day every day and at home all day every day. I do go out, I do things. I'm not just some kind of pale zombie. So I think this foundation's a pretty good balance of coverage and I guess allowing the inner glow out kind of thing. So another thing that I'm quite satisfied about with this trip is obviously I'm going to London soon, and that's been a source of minor anxiety for me, because I'm worried that I'll stand out, I'll get all of the bad comments and stuff. So every time I go somewhere new, it's actually quite nice to just remind myself that I'm not going to say pass, because I don't know if I do or not, but I go about my day unmolested, I guess is the word. I can go about my day without being hassled, harassed, or anything like that. I was just downstairs having breakfast here in the hotel, and there was a large group of Germans, and by large I mean something like 100 or so Germans down there at the breakfast bar. And I went down relatively early because I was hoping that I would have a fair amount of peace and quiet and privacy. But there were loads of Germans down there. But it was, you know, what it was. I mean, I don't seem to attract any negative comments or anything like that. I guess I'm kind of fortunate in that sense, but a lot of what I do is all about not standing out. You know, I don't want to bring any undue attention to myself. And I think that's sort of how I have kind of gone about my style choices, my fashion choices. I'm dressing for myself, and I think instinctively I'm a little bit conservative in my fashion choices, but that's okay, you know, I'm satisfied with that. I think I look quite good, and given the fact that I don't seem to get any sort of trouble, maybe it works, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm gonna finish off my face, I'm gonna apply some lipstick, I'm gonna finish tidying and packing here, and then we'll see each other out on the streets shortly. Okay, I am now on the Rinneck, which is still very similar to how it was back when I was here back in the day, and it's kind of reassuring how some things are still very, very similar. I've had to take a break though, because as I said, I'm walking down towards the train station and my bag is actually a lot heavier than I thought it was. Or maybe I'm just a lot weaker than I remember being. But I have myself a coffee. It's a nice sunny morning. I can just sit here and take in the atmosphere. Even though it's a little bit noisier, I guess, than I expected. There's people washing the streets and there's some construction going on over there. I believe they're setting up a stage to try to break the world record of most people playing guitar simultaneously, which sounds like a complete nightmare to me. But I don't know. I'm assuming they're all going to be playing Wonderwall or something simultaneously, which I'm glad I'm getting out of the town before that kicks off. But overall, I've enjoyed being here. I'm enjoying my stroll down from the hotel down towards the train station, and I'll check in again with you very shortly. There are a few interesting facts, I guess, about Wrocław that I will fill you in on. So first of all, it's known as the meeting place, or at least that's the strapline for Wrocław. And the Rinneck, where I was sitting just before, has some interesting features. There's this, I don't know how old clock tower. And in front of there is this column topped with this guy holding this stick thing. And this was apparently where all of the public floggings and executions took place back in the day. So that's fun. And also dotted around the city are these little gnome creatures. I think there's hundreds of them now. And one of the things to do in this town is to go around and try to find all of these little gnomes. Here's another one down here. See? Oh, and back there, just through that, I think is where I used to work for International House. So it's a place of memories and happiness and joy and little strange creatures. There's another one over there, in fact. Another thing about this city is that, as you can see, or as you may have seen from this video, there's a lot of very old buildings, a lot of very less old buildings. And for those in the know, the Rinneck, the center of Warsaw, was completely demolished during the Second World War. And I don't think it's untrue. I was told when I was living here that a lot of the buildings that helped reconstruct the center of Warsaw actually came from the provincial towns and cities all around Poland. So there are actually some of the buildings which were originally here in Wrocław transported into the center of Warsaw to rebuild that city. Seems a little bit unfair. I think I'm super lucky to be here in the spring, especially at this point where all of the leaves and greenery is out. I am definitely reminded of just how pretty Polish towns can be in the spring, and I guess also in the summertime. I think I would be having a very different type of vibe if I was here in, say, November. But as it is, this is just a perfect time to visit this place. It's lovely here, it really is. So I will now, I guess, that I'm at Wroclaw train station. It's very noisy here. Jesus, these announcements aren't messing around. Okay, I'm just gonna have to crack on, I think, because these announcements never end here for some reason. So that's it for my trip here. I am looking forward to sitting on my seat in the train for 4 hours, and I will see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.